Alright everybody, so yesterday we took a look at Dorothy in the latest video, talking a bit about the new login champion that we have in Raid, or that we're gonna have in Raid soon. That's obviously the entire Echo of Oz collaboration that they're currently starting up, or that will soon start. And we have already a look at other champions that will be released in the same IP collaboration, and there are some really interesting ones. Dorothy, obviously, already great. We went over her skills yesterday. She is amazing, especially as a free login champion. But we're also going to have a fusion, and in that case, we're going to get the Cowardly Lion. And this is a super interesting one. I mentioned this in the previous video. I wasn't really too excited about the collaboration, to be honest with you, because the IP just doesn't do as much for me as the Turtles, for example, did. But the champions that they're releasing here and the kits that they have are super interesting and are definitely very unique in the way that they are operating. And this is exactly what we're going to look at today, because this fusion is going to be an absolute must-have for pretty much most accounts out there. So you should really make sure that you're saving your resources. This is definitely the time to go a little bit slower with pulling shards and everything else, just so they're ready for the fusion, especially of course when you're on a new account. You want to make sure that you have everything ready so that you can start into it. But the first thing, of course, the first question is going to be, how strong is that character, how strong is that champion, and what exactly does the Cowardly Lion do? So let's take a look at what we know already. Now, the fusion is going to be an absolute banger. This champion is all about fear, dealing with fear. It's obviously catering towards the theme of the Cowardly Lion just in general, but there's a lot of cool things going on with him. And first of all, we are looking at the passive, of course. So, as I already said, fear is like a huge theme throughout the entire skill set that we're having with him and all of the abilities. You have an active effect wherever a fear is placed on the champion, it removes all of the debuffs from the champion itself, resets the cooldowns, and activates an insta-turn. So it's already a huge counter against fear just in general. And with fear champions, it's kind of funny because I still remember that on my account at some point I got marshaled, and he is super frustrating at the beginning of your raid career when you're going up against him, let's say in the Doom Tower, for example, but he can be absolutely massive ally when you have him on your own team, either when you're trying to break through PvE, because you are getting more control on the other side. There's obviously an RNG factor, but also you can really frustrate opponents very quickly. And Marshall was somebody that I love to play and still use a lot these days too. The heal reduction that he brings in obviously plays a role there as well, but just his fear and the means of controlling an opponent is quite nice. Now, as a passive effect over here, we also have that whenever the champion is under a fear or true fear debuff, the skills will always activate, so you're already counteracting it immediately. And then on top of that, you have an increased chance of enemy skills not activating when you are actually placing true fear on them. So an even higher chance. And I can already tell you that this is going to drive some people in PvP insane, especially if you're on a newer account. Let's say this is your first fusion, right? So you're on a new account, this is the first fusion that you can go for, and then you use it against people that are roughly at the same level in PvP. It's going to frustrate the hell out of him. There is nothing more infuriating that if you're going up against an opponent and he consistently puts a fear on you and it just keeps proccing. And that's already frustrating with other characters, but now on the passive that we have for the Cowardly Lion, you have an even increased chance of that proccing, so that's already amazing. And we're only talking about the passive here so far. When you're taking a look at the A3, this is one of the few things on him that doesn't directly correlate to fear. But it's a really cool aspect because it provides two buffs that we don't have all that often in Raid. We have counterattack and we have reflect damage. And those are some amazing buffs for your entire team, especially since they can be used very nicely against a lot of bosses out there. Back in the day, counterattack was one of the biggest things that you would use against the clan boss, for example. So he can also help you there, especially if you don't have a lot of, let's say, poison champions that can stack up on this. But even if you're just trying to get more poison stacks on an opponent, you may be early on your raid account and you have somebody that applies them on the A1, a Frozen Banshee, for example, and then the counterattack can obviously help you to load all of these debuffs even further. So counterattack as a buff for your team is amazing, reflect damage as well, and this is going to be a huge tool that you can use, and him providing both of them with the A3 is definitely extremely nice. It can be used in PvP, can be used in PvE, so you're gonna have a lot of fun with that too. And while under these buffs, the champion will ignore also shield and strengthen buffs while counter-attacking, which is also pretty huge. and then you can also ignore shield buffs when reflecting damage. So there's a little bit of an extra that you have on the A3 as well. But when we're continuing to the other abilities, on the A2 for example, you once again attack all of your opponents, and before attacking you're placing increased defense and a further buff on all of your allies. So you're attacking everybody on the other side, you're buffing your entire team at the same time, which also, by the way, buffs his damage, since we're talking about a defense champion here. So it's all based around his defense stats. Additionally, also ignore 20% of the target's defense, which is also insane. And then on top of that, you're also having a chance to place a true fear on all enemies for 2 turns that you can buff up to 100%. So while he's already a hard counter to fear in and of itself, you place fear on your opponent, it has a higher chance of proccing. And he's just crazy. When you're looking at the A1, this is a little bit of a different one, because right now you're attacking a single enemy 3 times, which immediately makes him, of course, interesting when you're going up against the Fire Knight. But also, you will build up damage slowly over the turn of a battle. The damage increases by 10% for each skill successfully activated by allies and enemies under Fear or True Fear debuffs. So this can stack up to 100%. You're also stealing turn meter. It's something that will ramp up over the duration of a fight, so it's not necessarily going to be super useful when you're going for a typical speed battle in arena, but when you're going up against the boss, let's say you're going up against the Hydra or anyone else, this is definitely going to ramp up and is going to increase the damage output that he is going to push out with his A1 pretty significantly. So just looking at him overall, he is a huge, huge tool and a real beast, no pun intended. But he's an absolute must-have in my opinion when it comes to the fusion. So saving resources right now would make a whole lot of sense. You have tons of debuffs that you can load up on your opponent. We're talking about, of course, Fear and True Fear. We're having then also the counter attack, the reflect damage that you can put on yourself, the increased defense. Further buff is also quite nice. We have a few champions right now that run it. We have a couple of relics, of course, that also provide it. And in general, it's a really nice small buff to have and can help you also with those ally attacks. But the champion itself is just amazing. He's a huge counter against anybody that can throw a fear on you. And at the same time, he provides it himself. He just ramps up during a fight whenever those get procced too. And yeah, he's just all in all a fantastic champion. So currently the collaboration that they have here with the Echoes of Oz looks really strong. We talked a bit about Dorothy, now we have the Cowardly Lion here, and I would say at least those two are the champions that you should walk away with after the collaboration. There's a few more things obviously that they're bringing in too, but at least looking at the fusion champion here, I would argue he's an absolutely must-have. And he's super interesting with the kit that they're running here. I said this already in the intro, but they did it now with Dorothy. They're doing it with him. So the champions that they're bringing in through the event are really cool. And they will, especially for newer players, be a huge tool that they can then use in their journey to break through some PvE ceilings and also frustrate the hell out of opponents in PvP. Now, one of the things that we don't know just yet is obviously the multipliers, how hard he's really going to hit. But everything that we've seen so far really leads to a conclusion that not only is he going to be a fantastic tool to have to buff and debuff during a fight, but that his damage output is also going to be good enough that you can definitely use him pretty much anywhere. So once again, guys, I talked about this in our last video, but if you have a friend that you want to invite to raid, you should probably do it right now and let them prep for everything that is happening here, because this is an amazing start. If you're getting Dorothy, if you have a chance to get him as well, you're going to be in a really good spot for your account. And ensure that you also take the starter link in the description of the video. You get some absolutely amazing champions here that will help you to just annihilate the clan boss and other areas of the game as well. All of them picked by me. We have some amazing legendaries with Patrike. We have a couple of epics that are absolutely crucial if you want to break through the early game content. And it's essentially just a cheat code. There's a new player code in the description as well. But right now, with Dorothy on the horizon, with the Cowardly Lion coming in, you can really just start your account, being it a free-to-play account or just a friend that you invite in, with an amazing amount of super important and impactful champions that will make the entire early game a total breeze and lead you towards the mid-game, I mean, within just a couple of days. So, fantastic start into the collaboration here that we have. Plarium definitely with super interesting designs now on the champions. I absolutely love the design of the champion itself as well, just on the aesthetics, but this is going to be pretty sweet. If you guys have a different opinion, like, let me know. If you think that this champion is a little bit overhyped right now, if you feel he's not going to be as impactful as most people think, then definitely drop a comment into the comment section. I personally am really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Dorothy, I'm looking forward to him, and I'm definitely going to make sure that I'm going to grab both of them. And then we'll see what else they're going to reveal throughout the core operation. But for now, at least, I think we're off to a really good start. Thanks a lot for watching the video, and if you made it this far, give the video a thumbs up, of course, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Have a fantastic week, guys. Bye-bye.